welcome to another inspiring episode of Amazing Women and Men of Power, Legends and Icons, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. I'm your host, Raven Blair Glover, aka Raven, the talk show maven. And oh my goodness, I have to say today is truly a dream come true for me. I have the absolute pleasure and honor of rolling out the virtual red carpet to a true legend. You know her best for her unforgettable powerhouse role as Abby Cunningham Ewing on the beloved series Knots Landing. But Donna Mills is also much more than just one iconic character. Oh, yes. Throughout her extraordinary career, she's captivated audiences across television, across film and theater with her talent, her elegance, her beauty, her fearless choices, and her undeniable star quality. Hey, remember Play Misty for me? Can we just say wow on that one alone? Yes, you're right. Now, I am going to tell you that this lady is so amazing. She just gets better and better, looks younger and younger. Today, y'all, Donna continues to inspire with new projects, including her fabulous new podcast, We're Not Done Yet. If you haven't heard it, you better ask somebody because it's amazing. Alongside her Knots Landing co-stars and lifelong friends, Michelle Lee and Joan Van Art, she's a shining example of reinvention, resilience, and staying true to yourself at a stage of life, no matter what age you are. We're going to talk about her remarkable journey as an actress, a mother, a grandmother, and most recently, yes, you heard me, a grandmother, the cultural impact she's made and continues to make, and what it means to live, get this, a truly empowered life. So without further ado, you know what I like to say, if you stand and sit down, if you sit and stand up, because the lady is here, Donna Mills, y'all.
Hello.
Hey, Donna. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's so nice to see you.
I tell you, this is so exciting. So if you see me doing like this, just think of me as a little kid and she's getting her first doll, okay? Her first dream, first gift. So this is truly exciting. My daughter, Jamie, and my son, Blair, well, it's so funny because they were teenagers and I made them come in and watch. I think we started off with Dallas and then Falcon Crest and then Knots Landing, and they fell in love with Knots Landing. Okay. My son fell in love with you. And it was like, let me see, did you guys come on Thursdays? I keep visualizing a Thursday. Right?
It was Thursday. It was a Thursday night. I think it was I guess it depends on what part of the country, 10 o'clock.
Yeah. So yeah, it was okay, 7 or 8, because we were living in Houston at the time. And it was our show. It was our family thing.
That's so neat. It's so nice for us, the actors in it, to know how impactful it was and how people still remember it and are watching it again.
Yes. We're going to talk about how they can start watching it again for sure. And yes, it was the thing. Those 3 shows were great, but yours stood out so much. And okay, you appeared, was it in Dallas from time to time?
No, JR came to Knots Landing a couple of times.
Okay, all right.
Joan had started out her on Dallas with Gary, and then they moved to Knots Landing, and so they were the ones that kind of brought it to.
So kind of every now and then one show would be kind of feeding off of another. So that was really great.
It was, because he was he was a Ewing. So it was the Ewing family.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was Joan. You're right. And by the way, speaking of Joan, we'll talk about this more as we go. I was listening to the show with the 3 of you. And I think what I liked about it best is it didn't sound like a show. It sounded like 3 good friends just chatting it up. And that was so cool.
That's kind of they came to us with that idea, you 3, well, we're funny together. We just are, and they came and they said, just talk, and then we'll record it.
There you go.
That's basically, what we've done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because they're
absolutely.
both crazy, you know. Joan and Michelle are both crazy. I'm the sane one. But somehow it comes out funny.
It came out very funny and very real. I think anyone, especially, I'm in my 70s now. And so anybody, I say baby boomers and beyond, this was the show. Okay. You know how they have housewives and all that now. Well, the housewives need to watch some of you guys, okay, show, because
Yeah,
that was our housewife type show back in the day, the reality of it and stuff. And it was so great. Now, you've had
yeah.
such an extraordinary career. I mean, like I said earlier, across television, film, and stage. I remember you being introduced to you first, I believe, in Play Misty for Me. Was that your first or not?
Well, no,
Okay.
it wasn't. I came from doing a soap opera in New
Oh,
York
oh,
to
okay.
do Play Misty for me. It's kind of an interesting story. I had was doing the soap opera, and when they renegotiated my contract, it was my sister and I, not my real sister, but on the
Okay.
show, Leslie Charlson, and the show kind of we put it on the air. It was a new soap opera, and it was called Love Is a Many Splendid Thing,
I
and it was
remember
really supposed
that.
to be about the
Okay.
movie with the Eurasian girl being the star, so to speak, and
Okay.
we were kind of second stars. And for some reason the audience just took to us and we became very important on it. So when we went to renegotiate our contract, I went to Leslie and I said, Leslie, you know what? They can't do without both of us. They could do without one of us. They can't do without both of us. So let's negotiate together, which
Oh,
we did. And we got everything that we wanted. One of the things that I wanted was nighttime guest shots out here in Los Angeles.
okay.
And one of the guest shots that I did was Dan August with Burt Reynolds.
Okay.
And Burt Reynolds after we'd done this show, ran into Clint at a bar one night. And Clint said, "Oh, I'm looking for a girl for this movie I'm doing. I can't find anybody I like." And Burt says, "Well, I just worked with this girl from New York. Maybe you'd like her." He showed him the dailies from that, and he hired me right from that. I never met him, never auditioned, nothing. He hired me right from that.
Oh
So
my God.
that was my start out here in California. I'd been, in New York before then doing, various and sundry things, and I actually started out as a dancer there.
Oh, wow. I'm glad I asked that question because I had no idea about that story. And that's quite amazing, that, like you said, you didn't have to audition or anything. It was happening meant to be because you were, oh my God, so fabulous in that. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, did you always want to be an actress like from childhood or?
Yes, but I more than that wanted to be a dancer. I studied ballet since I was 5 years old. My mother took me to dance class and I loved it. And, I had my tutus and my toe shoes and everything. But I was really quite serious about it.
Oh,
One of the
wow.
first jobs that I ever had as a dancer was in the national company in the chorus of My Fair Lady. Um, and that was a huge deal for me. I mean, I thought that was the most wonderful thing that could have happened to me, just to be in that company. And I toured around the whole country with it. So that was really fun. But yeah, so when I first went to New York, that's what I was doing. I was dancing, but I would go and audition for movies or television or whatever there was. And then I started getting roles. And so the dancing kind of took a second place to acting then.
Wow. So dance and ballet. I took ballet in college for just a little bit. I bought all the shoes and the heel tap toe and all that stuff. I didn't get further than that. It was hard being on your toes. It was so hard. But I
It
did.
is
I
hard.
I went to from that to kind of a little bit of the what they used to call jazz dancing, that
Hmm.
type of stuff, which was close, but not nowhere near like ballet, but it was my next thing. But yeah, those were the
Yeah.
fun days
Yeah.
back then for sure. Okay.
I think all of dance. I love dance. I go to see whatever I can these days. And the discipline that it
Yeah.
teaches you
Yeah.
is really important,
Yeah.
particularly in this business where, you have to be disciplined in order to do it. It's hard. People see the glamour, they see, but they don't know that you get up at 4:30 in the morning
Yeah.
and you work 18 hours,
Oh
and
my goodness.
then you go and do a photo shoot, and then there's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
It sure is. It's definitely like you said, it teaches you to be consistent and to be early. You can't be sleeping late. You got to be early, get started, and
Yep.
committed. Very committed. Very
Yep.
committed.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
And which is good no matter where we veer off to in our career because commitment is huge. You got to have that passion, but you got to have that commission as well. Now, before you
Yep.
became a household name, I know you're going to have to think back on this because you've been a household name for a while now. What was life like for Donna Mills growing up?
Growing up, it's funny you said that, and I looked up, and I right behind my computer here, I have a big montage that I made for my brother, actually, but I
Oh,
got a copy of it too that's up on the wall here, and it's my family, my mother and father's wedding um, photo, me as a little,
oh,
my brother and I together as little kids. Um,
oh,
I think I always had show business in my blood,
blood.
and
Hmm.
not from, there was nobody else in my family that did it, but it just seemed to be what I was destined for.
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
plays and dance and all that in high school, and when I was growing up, that was my play was doing plays.
Hmm.
So it was really fun, and coming up as a dancer. I mean, I did other jobs too. I worked as a secretary at Popular Mechanics magazine.
Oh, really? I used to sell popular mechanics.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
As a secretary. I
wow.
was probably one of the worst secretaries ever.
Really?
But I think they kept me around because they kept using different parts of me in photograph, like my foot and my leg on a gas pedal in a car. I mean, they'd use it for different things. Thank goodness the man that I worked for traveled a lot, so I could take like 4 hours to type a letter because he wasn't there and he didn't know. I was terrible. That was not my calling, but I did do it for a while.
Wow, a secretary. That's funny, but we do different things to find that perfect thing. You knew that wasn't yours, and I was
Right.
in corporate for a while and I knew I hated corporate. It was just not me. I wasn't one that you could say, do this, do that, do this, do that. I get the feeling you're like that too, very innovative, creative person, and you don't want to be boxed in, right? For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to be able to do, what I feel is good and,
Yeah.
stuff like
It
that.
felt right to
It's
you. And
hard. Yeah. It's hard in this business because you don't always get the scripts, that
mm,
you would have liked to do and stuff like that. So it's hard. It becomes harder as you get older too.
yeah, yeah. I love that you said and you shared with us that even though you didn't come from a family of actors or actresses, it just was something that was embedded in you to say, this is what I want to be. And I talk to our
Yeah.
amazing women and men of power listeners and viewers a lot about, usually what we feel like we want to be as a child, we end up being somehow years down the line. It's like it's embedded in us, and if we don't do that, we're doing something within the arena. I used to want to be a teacher, But my love and passion was radio. I used to sneak, we were living in Cleveland, Ohio, Donna, and I used to sneak down to the neighborhood radio station, WJMO. I was the pesky little girl that would bring them water, and they were just so sick of me. But I felt like Casper as a kid, but for some reason at the radio station, because they got people calling in and the music and stuff, it excited me. And I was like, these people get to be heard. So it was the clue of I wanted to be heard. I was the youngest. And being the youngest, sometimes you feel like everybody's kind of dismissing you. And I didn't start
Yeah, you
doing my
kind of you
show.
kind of have to push your way in
You
when you
do.
when you're
Yeah.
youngest.
But I
Yeah.
gave up on that because I was a bad tester. So it didn't happen until I was 55. Here I am now 74. And I feel like,
Oh,
I'm a little kid living my dream, especially now with you. So I am for it. Let's just say it together. Live your life, right, Donna?
yep.
Live
Yep.
your
Yeah. You've got to, and kudos to you for,
thank you.
going and finding this and doing this kind of thing. It's great. I mean, that's why, when we were introduced, I was like, yeah, I want to talk to her.
Oh, that was sweet. I will find out offline one of these days what he said to you. But she's talking about my son Blair. But he knew for sure because we watched the show that this would definitely be a dream come true blues, a dream come true interview for me. So Blair, this is for you. Now you portrayed so many unforgettable characters. We talked about that over the decades. I'm just curious, what role do you feel was the one that you enjoyed the most? Was it playing Abby or the one that played Misty for me? What was the character's name in that one? I can't remember.
Toby,
Hmm?
Toby,
Yes,
Toby.
yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
Or you being on the soap opera, because when you brought up that soap opera, I'm like, I remember that because that was a really good soap opera. It went off too soon, I thought. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. That was interesting because I played a novice nun on that.
Oh, okay.
So,
I wonder if you can
that
find
that
old episodes of that. Is that one we could find old episodes of?
I haven't seen any. I'm sure there are.
Okay.
There must be archived somewhere.
Oh,
It'd
okay.
be interesting to see it. It really
Yeah.
would.
But anyway,
Yeah.
which one do you feel was your favorite role and why?
It was definitely Abby.
Okay.
It really was. First of all, as an actress, you don't often get to have that much time to hone a character,
Mm-hmm.
to find every morsel of her. I had 9 years. So, and I had great writing. And that, you don't always get that.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
she was definitely and she was a character who had many facets.
Yeah.
She's known as the bad girl, villainous, all that kind of
Ambitious,
stuff.
strong, sexy,
Yeah.
unapologetically it all. That's what I loved about her.
Yeah, but she was well-rounded. She had feelings. She
Mm-hmm.
had insecurities. She never let anybody see them. You would only see that kind of thing if you saw her alone in a room. And they did that as writers on the show. They gave her both sides. They gave her
Mm-hmm.
that kind of courage that she had to go out there and get whatever she wanted. But her most important role to her was her being a mother. And she loved her kids and she'd do anything for her kids. So, um, she was well-rounded. She was a many-faceted character, and
Mm,
that's really fun to play.
yeah.
So I have to say, Abby, I've played a lot of different roles, a lot of fun roles, but Abby's the favorite.
I mean, you couldn't put a better face or a different person in that, So let me ask you this. Are you the same? I mean, in real life,
Am
big
I like
difference in
Ab Am I like Abby?
uh-huh.
In some ways,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, yes. You know, I became a mother later in life. I became a mother after Knots Landing, but that's my most important thing, and I think it was the most important thing to Abby.
Yeah.
Would I? do all the things that Abby did? Oh, maybe not. You know, I think she was a little promiscuous, you know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think I would do that,
Yeah.
but and she tended to not always do business in the most good way, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
she would cheat on things a little bit. So
She did it
um,
Abby's way.
I don't. I think there are many things about her that I wouldn't do. But what was fun was I got to do them as her.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to live that side kind of vicariously, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well,
yeah.
one thing I remember about her, she was very ambitious. She was very strong. She was a woman of power, and she owned it. She didn't let men make her feel small or anything. So, my next question was, what kind of impact do you feel Abby had on women back in that day, especially? Because that was a whole different time than now, right?
Yes, it was. I am gratified to hear from women and to know that women were influenced by her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that they said, yeah, hey, that's the way you should be. You should be that strong. You should be that undeniably, I'm going to do this. I'm ambitious. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I think that I've gotten so many letters and so many fan things that tell me how Abby affected someone's life, mostly women, that they felt like if Abby can do it, I can do it, you know,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's very gratifying for me to know that had a positive impact on people's lives. It just is very, it's humbling, but it's wonderful.
And hearing it from real people, right, made a difference and had to touch you and Michelle's and Joan and everybody's heart hearing things like that. And now you're with someone that especially can say that Abby gave me balls.
Right.
Yeah, because back then, Abby, not Abby, oh Lord, now I'm really into the character.
That's okay.
Back then, Donna, it was hard for women to get the positions, remember, that we really wanted in our job. And we were wearing, suits and kind of, dressing not quite the way very feminine like we may have felt. And I believe your character showed us how it's okay to be sexy and ambitious, you know, but you got to own where you are. If you're going to go in and strut it like that, be that. So I think it helped. I know it helped me step into my power, and that's why everything for me is about amazing women and power and men of power, because I feel like we have to make that leap. We have to make that step. And sometimes
Yeah,
we have to be pushed out of that box that you and I talked about, because people want to keep you in the box and say this is a certain way. But back then, it was really hard for women to climb up that ladder and be respected. And Abby was
yeah.
respected. She may have done
And
some
I
crazy things, but she was respected for
yeah.
sure. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think, people seeing her in her business mode and everything like that, and how she didn't take anything from from men. A lot of times, I recall on Knots where, some guy would try to do this or that, or Gary wasn't, giving her all the kudos that she deserved and everything.
Mm-hmm.
She was not going to take that. She was always up there and not afraid and not shy about, asserting herself and asserting her look and
Mm-hmm.
everything about her,
Yeah.
which that's the way women should be. I mean, we both know women have been, and it still exists, paid less
Yes.
than I just saw an interview with some actress, I don't remember who it was, who said, this first movie that I did, the guy got $15 million and I got $500,000,
Wow. Mm-hmm.
and so in order for us to be paid the way we should be paid, we have to
Mm-hmm.
stand up. We have to,
Yeah.
demand it
Yes.
because
Yes.
right.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes go the extra mile and be okay with that, to get where
Yeah.
we want to be. We just have to, get up extra, stay that extra hour, after work and go out there. But it was really hard proving yourself back then. And I think people that watched your show at that time felt like Abby and the other women in there that were strong like that and not afraid to just go for it. It helped us to, oh, Abby can do it. I can do it. I'm going in and ask for that raise today.
Right. Yes. Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's really great to know. It
Yeah.
really is.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
reinventing yourself. How many times do you feel you've reinvented yourself?
Oh,
Hmm.
goodness. I don't know. I don't know if I've reinvented or just kind of evolved.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I like that. Hmm. Yeah.
yeah, I
Revolve,
think,
reset, revamp, whatever,
yeah,
reinvent. And do you think
yeah.
sometimes that happens because we're just getting older? Maybe what we loved yesterday, we don't really love today, or
I mean, I think as you get older, your vision, and I don't mean in your eyes, but
Mhm.
your vision of what you want and everything changes somewhat. Although
Yeah.
it's funny, I I don't think of myself as my age. I get up sometimes in the morning and I go, "You're how old?" And I go, "That can't be right." I mean, I play tennis 5 times a week. I work
Wow.
out. I do. There's very little that I don't do now that I've always done. It's not
Mm.
quite as easy as it used to be. The getting the leg up on the bar and all that kind of stuff is
Yeah, I
a
have to
little
get
harder.
somebody to come help me get the leg off the bar. Honey, I'm stuck. Can you
Exactly.
help me? Yeah, really. And you jog,
Yes.
right? Because I was listening to your podcast. You jog,
And
right?
what?
You jog. Do
No,
you
no, no,
run?
that's Joan.
That's Joan that runs. Okay, okay.
Joan jogs every night. She does it at
Every
night.
night? Oh my God. Okay.
I know, which to me is insane because, like, I don't know. And she's by herself. She goes down and jogs around different neighborhoods and stuff like that. But
Oh,
she's been a runner all her life, and that's her exercise. That's what she does. Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
I
You
could
and
play.
Joan, it was hard for me to kind of distinguish your voices at first listening to it.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think there will come a time probably that will be on camera.
Oh, that'll be great. That'll be
Yeah.
great. Yeah. I
Yeah.
just
I
read
think,
today that video podcast is like taking over. They want people to come from behind the mic and get on video. So that would be
uh-huh.
great. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it'd be
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it will happen. I mean, I think that was the idea from the very beginning, but they wanted to start out kind of just audio and stuff like that, see how it went.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. Which I think will be fun. And we're gonna have some of our old castmates on,
Oh, good.
different people who were on the show,
Hmm.
people played different roles, and there were a lot of, you know, really terrific actors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Can't wait to see that for sure. I want to go back to when you were talking about, age and the things you do to keep yourself healthy. And you mentioned something very profound, and that was you didn't feel your age. You don't feel your age. And I understand. I sometimes I do. I don't want to, but sometimes I get up and the leg is hurting and stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness, I wish I would have prepared for this part of my life, but it's really wonderful to hear that you are still doing a lot of the things that you've done always, to keep yourself healthy, to keep yourself fit. How important is that for us to not just sit just because you're a certain age, to own the age, right?
I mean, it's so important. Uh, you just have to think about it. Think about, okay, you've got all these muscles in your body, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you don't use them, you know what happens. They kind of atrophy. They don't work well anymore. So you got to
Yeah,
keep working them. And it's not
yeah,
just a matter of taking a walk every day. Walking is lovely, is fine, but it's not something that really works your muscles. You
yeah.
have to work out.
Mm.
I do a lot of stretching as a dancer. I know how important that is. I do weights.
Oh, you
I
do?
do 100, I do 100 sit-ups,
Wow.
50 leg
100
lifts.
sit-ups. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. That is
Yeah.
amazing, Donna.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, people say, well, how come you have such a flat stomach? How do you do that? Sit-ups. You have to work at it. You
Yeah.
can't just if you want to keep it working, you gotta work at it.
Yeah.
And I can't encourage it enough for people to have a workout schedule and do it. You do it, sometimes it's maybe only 3 times a week, but
Mm.
you got to do it. And you got to do it for at least an hour. You can't, I do usually a half hour on the bike, on a stationary bike.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do, like I said, the sit-ups. I do leg weights that I do with 30-pound weights.
You have a gym in your
I,
home? Or you have a
yeah,
gym in your home?
well, yeah, a
Mm-hmm.
little one.
Yeah, but
There's,
still, I
it's not
mean
very
that,
big,
yeah, that makes the difference when
but
you don't have to leave, and
yeah,
because when you have to leave, sometimes you have to really talk yourself, oh, do I want to go there, and all that. But having something, like you said, doesn't have to be fancy or anything, right?
as a dancer, I have a
Mm-hmm.
ballet bar. I have,
Mm-hmm.
a whole mirrored wall
Oh,
ballet bar. That's
uh-huh.
the one thing that I've never done without. I've always had a ballet bar in my house. If you don't have a ballet bar, you can use the kitchen counter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you can put your leg up on anything, but somehow the ballet bar just kind of motivates you to, do the proper stretching. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but
That's
you are
awesome.
absolutely right. You got to keep moving.
Keep moving. Absolutely. Wow. So you never stop really dancing. You still sometimes dance and do some of the same steps and things that you did before.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I like to go dancing,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
fortunately, my guy likes to dance, so we go dancing, or if there's a wedding or something, we're all always dancing. And I've become a big advocate of the Los Angeles Ballet. For the
Okay.
last 2 years, I've emceed their gala,
Oh, wow.
and I love it's a wonderful company, and they have improved so much in the last few years that.
Mm.
I haven't started it yet. I cannot tell a lie, but I am going to take ballet class again.
Oh, wow. That's
They do ballet
awesome.
classes for adults, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
there's no better, nothing better for your body than ballet. And so I'm going to start taking class again.
Well, anyone that's looking at this or listening to this, they would have no idea of your age and will be shocked when they find out. I'm not telling them. But anyway, because
We
you
do,
are,
the thing is, these days you can't lie about your age because they look well, let's Google her. Oh, it's right there. So, I mean, I'd love to lie about my age, but I can't.
well, if you want to tell them, you can. But but I'm just saying, you're amazing, amazing. I mean, I know people that are 40 that's not even doing that, and I think it's really important that you took the time to talk about it because it is so important. And you motivated me. And I'm going to be honest. I am not one. Blair, my son, gets on me all the time because I sit a lot. I'm doing one interview after another. And I just got to get up. And you have really motivated me to doing something. I don't know about lifting the leg on the, well, this table here is not too high. I lifted a little
Well,
bit.
see, you start out with that and you do it. And the thing is, if you do it every day,
Mm-hmm.
by the end of a week, you go, oh, look, I can get this much closer to my leg than I did. I mean, it starts out you like this, and then pretty soon, and then, I
It
mean,
gets, yeah. It's kind of like when
it
we were
doesn't
little and
take
you do
long.
the split. What is a split? You know, you sit on the floor, you got the legs, you start here and then here and then here. So it's just a little bit at a time. So
Yep,
absolutely. Oh my
yep.
God. I'm excited.
Yes.
Honey, I'm going to be exercising. Donna's got me motivated.
That's good. I mean, because it's just important,
It is.
And look at
Yeah.
you. You're vibrant. You're wonderful. You're
Thank you.
everything. So you want to keep it all working,
I know, I know. I've
right?
got, I've talked to God. 104 is what I'm going for. Blair, like, well, you better get to work. We got to do our part. Is basically what we say.
Yeah.
Yeah, got to do our part. Curious, was there a role that you really wanted and you couldn't get it? They turned you down. That's
Oh,
what I okay.
yeah. There have been many. I
Me?
mean,
Really?
oh yeah, yeah.
Mm,
I mean, now, I mean, the business has changed so much, and there's not that many opportunities for someone of my age.
mm-hmm.
So, and a lot of the casting directors are 22 years old and they don't know me.
Yeah, yeah.
So they want me to, and everything is, it used to be you'd go in for an audition and you'd audition, for the director or whatever. Now it's on tape. And
Oh, you mean you
I
send in a
don't,
video? Is that what it is now? You don't go in.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
no,
Mm,
no. They call it self-tape. They'll send you the sides,
mm,
the script,
mm-hmm,
and then you go either do it yourself on your phone, or there's places you can go and they'll record it for you, and you find somebody else to read the other lines, and you do it and send it into them so they
mm,
don't have to have people coming in and doing it. I don't like it, and most actors don't, and most directors don't,
mm,
because the interaction and like if you get to meet the director and you do a reading and he says, yeah, that's good, but try this
mm-hmm,
instead,
mm-hmm.
and you do that, he gets to know if he can work with you, he or
Yeah.
she can
Okay.
work with you, and that's really important. With a tape, you
Yeah. You're
never
only going to
know.
get so
So
much in the tape for sure.
yeah,
Hmm. That's
yeah.
interesting. I
And there
didn't
there
know
have
that.
been numbers of roles, of things even recently, that I didn't get. I do a tape or whatever, and then you never hear back.
And you never hear back. Yeah. And you're
And
like,
they're not
okay.
polite enough to call you and say, well, that was great, but we chose someone else. You just don't hear anything.
So what do you do in that case? Do you follow up or you just say, oh, okay.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you can ask your agent or manager or whoever, to
Hmm.
call them and ask them, but they'll generally say they really don't like it when you
Yeah.
call them. If they want you, they'll call you. If they don't, you just don't hear.
Oh my goodness. Now that you're telling me this, I'm thinking, okay, so what's going to be next, for not just what you're doing, the actors and actresses and stuff, but for people getting jobs, are they going to have you sending the tape to an AI person and the AI person decide and it
That's the
never even
thing.
get
That's
to the
that's
person?
that's one of the things that the actors strike was
Hmm.
about AI and them, they wanted to recreate someone, and
Yeah.
then they can just do with you whatever they want. They can create you.
Yeah.
At this point, anyway, I don't know if everybody can. I can tell when something's been created by AI. They're
Yeah.
trying to make you think it's a real person,
It's
but
not. It's not.
you know it's not.
Yeah.
But this is just the beginning of
Hmm.
them. Um, this stuff. They'll get better and better at
better
it. It
and
will
better.
be not too long from now. You won't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah. And,
And that's really
AI, what's happening with AI is happening so fast. I'm actually taking a certification class now because in my business, especially at the age I am, and you know this, you have to stay on top of things, whether you want to or not. You can't just kind of bury your head in the sand, right? So if this is happening, I'm like, okay, I want to learn all I can learn for it because I don't know how you feel about this, but sometimes I think, okay, I have those low moments, I guess, and I'm like, okay, who's going to want to hire or even a 74-year-old to teach them how to be a radio? Oh, sorry about that. How to do a radio show or how to interview? Who's going to want to be mentored at my age? And so I constantly am finding, Donna, that I'm staying up at night on YouTube learning and studying. And do you find that too, that you have to kind of stay ahead because things are
Yeah,
moving,
but
you know?
I mean, to hear you say that is so great that you're doing that, that you're not sitting there saying, well, they're not gonna, they're not gonna take me because you're learning.
Yeah.
You're learning. I mean, do you know how young that's gonna keep you?
I hope.
Just that learning. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
It
Thank
really
you.
is. I'm less of a I, I give in to technology more because it's not in my DNA,
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, in your field, you don't really have to know it as much. But when I started
not as
podcast, I'm
not as
sorry.
much as you would, but
Yeah,
I give you kudos to that you're doing that and that you're learning about it. It's wonderful.
thank
It
you, thank
really
you. Yeah, well, it's kind of like if you want to, because you're creating income, right? Creating income nowadays, and not saying I'm going to settle for Social Security because we don't even know what it's going to have. If I don't create income, you know what I'm saying, and build up my nest now, why I'm feeling good and stuff. And once I start lifting my leg up, I'm putting it on the table and start exercising like Donna is motivating me to do,
it'll be
you know,
even better.
it'll be even better for sure. You have Donna Mills Productions, right? That's something you started, I think, after what, 8 or 9 seasons of being on Knots Landing. Are you still doing that? And what is it all about?
Well, back then I produced I think it was 6 movies for television
Wow.
with my own production company. Because I had, they wanted me to be in them, they
Mm-hmm.
gave me the producer credit also, but I
Okay.
actually did produce them. I developed the scripts. Um, chose the directors, chose the other actors, stuff like that. So that was fun. But then that was in television, so that was where my power lay in television.
Mm-hmm.
Once they started not doing movies for television anymore, which they started not because all these things were coming on cable,
Mm-hmm.
and that wasn't just the three, because I had deals with the ABC and CBS to do movies for television. Once that started to go away, I sort of gave up the producing end
Okay.
because I didn't have the power anymore that they wanted me to be in it, so they let me be the producer.
Oh, really?
You know,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, it was fun. I had a
Mm-hmm.
good time doing it. I did some nice work. I did some things that I think were important. I did a movie called My Name is Kate about a woman
Oh,
who was an alcoholic.
okay.
Um, I did another movie about, it was called Runaway Father, about deadbeat dads.
Oh, wow.
Um, so, I felt that I used what I had at the time
Mm-hmm.
well in making movies that mattered,
I
you
was
know.
just getting ready to say that. So you really went in a different way and just said, I want to do some really meaningful things, not just for entertainment, but
Yeah.
something that's really going to move the needle, so to speak, push people, forward. in a way, inspiring
Yeah.
and motivating people. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing. It's
That's it.
awesome.
And then I basically left the business when I adopted my daughter.
Okay, Chloe. Mm-hmm.
So, that's another reason I let the production company go because I didn't want to work anymore. I wanted to be a mom.
That's so
And so,
wonderful that you adopted her too. That's wonderful. I really um, I praise you for that because that's important. I had an opportunity years ago to interview Victoria Rao, and she wrote a book. I think it's something about she had a lot of different mothers because she had been, different people that she had loved that had taken care of her. And that's when I really, really understood the other side, actual people that were being adopted and how important it was, and how when the older ones, people don't adopt necessarily, and all these different things. So yeah, it just kind of touched
yeah.
me when you said that, made me think of an interview. So that's important. So for anyone that's thinking, since you brought it up about having a child, they can't have a child and they don't want to go through all the new fancy ways of doing it, what would be something you would want to pass on to them about adopting a child?
Well, I'm a big advocate of it. I was very lucky. I have an incredibly wonderful daughter.
Hmm.
Um, she was I got her when she was 4 days old.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
yeah, she's my baby, you know.
Oh.
And I would encourage people to do it. There's many reasons, that somebody can't have a baby or whatever. And
Hmm.
another, and I think one of the reasons, that women are older. I was 54 when I adopted her.
Okay. Okay.
So it seems to me that that's a very good time when you're a little bit older because you've probably done something in your career
Hmm.
already,
Hmm.
had a career. Um, you've probably maybe put some money together so that
Right.
you have a cushion and that. And these days, that age, you're still feeling good,
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
say, "Oh, you have a toddler running around; it's just going to be too much for you."
Yeah.
No, not at all.
It probably
So I
sparked a
would
whole new life for you.
highly,
Hmm.
I would highly encourage anyone to adopt and
Yeah.
to look into adopting. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And mine was a closed adoption, so I never met the biological mother or father. But there are open adoptions too, where the parents. But that child becomes your child, your baby, and you're their mother. And
That's
it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Generally, at that age, I guess we have more control of deciding, do we want to keep whatever career we're doing now, or do we want to stop it? Like you said, usually we might have a little cushion there, and you could probably maneuver your time better than when you're younger and you're trying to do so many different things.
I think if I'd had a child when I was younger,
Hmm.
I probably would have resented the child somewhat because
Of
I
your
was very
career.
ambitious.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
yeah,
ambitious. I wanted my career. I
yeah,
loved my career. So I wouldn't have been as good a mother then
yeah.
as I was later,
Well, it's good
you
that you
know?
do that. You picked the right time and getting her. What'd you say? 4 months?
4 days.
4 days. Oh wow. Yeah. So it's almost like you birthed her for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
That's
4 days old.
amazing. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
when you adopt the way I did, they try to, get it to the adopted parent
Hmm.
as soon as they can,
Hmm.
because, the baby needs to feel you, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
And at infant stage is very important. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's good. And now you got a grandbaby.
I do. I do. It's so cute. I saw him yesterday. Oh my God,
Oh
he's
wow. What's his name?
Colt.
Colt. Okay. All
Yeah,
righty. Oh my goodness.
Coulter, actually, but I call him Colt.
One
Yeah.
thing about them grandbabies, boy, it's just like it's hard to put them down, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's so wonderful to see your child so
Hmm.
happy. I
Yeah.
mean, she just loves being a mom. She
Yeah.
wants four.
She was 4. Oh my goodness.
She
And you
wants
don't
four
mind. You're like,
children.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's great. But yeah, she's always loved kids, little kids.
Oh, that
I
is
mean,
so
since she
wonderful.
was a little kid, she's tall.
Uh-huh.
So she would come walking out of her little nursery school or wherever she was, and she'd have three or four other little kids hanging on her because
Wow.
they 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 just went to her. So
She's a
it's really
natural.
lovely.
She's a
Yeah,
natural
she is.
mom. She's very natural at
Yeah,
it.
there are many children out there, older children too,
Mhm.
that have foster care or whatever that if you'd had the chance to adopt them, that's a wonderful thing to do too. I think it's probably a little harder because you've got
Yeah.
their mm, life before, and hopefully, it hasn't been too bad for
Yeah.
them. You just think of any child not having a loving home to be in
Yeah.
is,
I can tell you one thing though. I'll say this: an old grandmom to a new grandma. They grow up quick, Donna. My grandson Christian, I can't. It's hard for me to believe that December he'll be 29 years old. And when my daughter Jamie had him, I remember seeing him and like, oh my God, he's so cute. He's cute. And then the next thing I know, he's working for me. He actually helps build TV channels and stuff for my clients and things. And he
oh,
grew up
that's
so
so neat.
quick. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you had children early,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think I had Blair, I want to say in my early 20s, just something like that. Yeah. And he grew up fast too. Always,
Yeah.
they grow so quick. I can imagine how you feel about Chloe because I feel the same way about Jamie when you see them as a mom. You're actually seeing your baby as a mom.
Yeah.
You're just like almost in awe, right? You just find yourself watching. And do you find that she does things like you do them sometimes? Like me and my daughter, we're just now realizing how much we have in common. So we see each other do, I see her do the same things I do, fuss at Chris the same way
Oh,
I used to fuss at her. You
yeah.
ever do that? Or you see that
He's only 3 months old now,
yeah,
so
so
I
it's
haven't
still
had a
too
chance
early.
to, observe her too long. And
Yeah.
of course, she's breastfeeding, which
Oh,
I didn't do, of
yeah.
course, but so that makes it very different. But
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm really glad she's able to do it. It's not an easy thing. Not
Yeah.
everybody can do it. So
Oh, I think I did like for 2 weeks and it was like, and I was trying to work and go to work. I'm like,
mhm.
I don't have time to do all that. Just give me a bottle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
before I go to work for sure. Okay, we're running out of time. So I want to talk real quick about we're not done yet.
Yes.
Your podcast. Tell us about it. What do you want the listeners to walk away with when they listen to you, Michelle and Joan, on We're Not Done Yet?
You know what? I think, first of all, it's listening to girlfriends, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, just
Mm-hmm.
girlfriends chatting. And that's a lot of what it's about. And I mean, I think that's nice. And I think people like that, and
Mm-hmm.
long time friends,
Yeah.
we've known each other for a long time. Um, and then I think they want to hear stories about the show, the
Mm-hmm.
backstage kind of stuff, and our different takes on that,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody kind of sees it from a different perspective, really. And so I think it's fun for them. And like I said, we're going to have some of the other actors on. I think that people also like to talk about the issues that we
Dealt with.
dealt with
Mm-hmm.
on Knots,
Mm-hmm.
because uh, it was contemporary for the times. There was, my daughter had a drug problem that I dealt with, and there were lots of. Michelle had a drug problem of her own.
Mm-hmm.
So all those kind of things. So I think they like hearing what we thought about all that and
Yeah.
how we worked with it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's you know, there's a lot there. I mean, because we did not, well, there's 14 years of it and at least 22 episodes a year. Yeah, 14 years. It was on the air longer than almost any show except Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke. Boy, I hadn't heard that one in a while.
I know, yes. But that one was on something 15 years or 16 years or something like that. But yeah, it was on longer than Dallas, Dynasty, Falcon Crest, any of them. It was on longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm telling you, 14 years. I knew it had been a long time, but I didn't know it was 14 years. And it's coming back on, or it's officially back on now.
Well, it's
People can
officially
watch the
back
old
on.
episode.
It started out on Plex, and I guess it's still on Plex. I don't know, but probably more important, it's on Amazon Prime.
Okay. Okay. Got to
You
check
go on
that out.
Amazon Prime and you have to kind of search for it. You put, with the
Uh-huh.
thing that you can search,
Uh-huh.
um, put in Knots Landing, and then it'll come in. They have
Oh my
every
goodness.
episode.
I'm so excited. And that means I get to start from the beginning. Oh my
And that's what many people are doing.
I love
It's
it. I
really
love it.
wild. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm just going to have Jamie and my daughter Jamie and Blair. And my grandson has never seen it, so we're going to make him maybe virtually because we're all like he's in Hawaii, Jamie's in Houston, Jamie and Chris, and I'm in LA. So we're going to have to come virtually some kind of way and watch it and talk about it. It's going to be so much fun. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
I am
That's great.
super excited. Now, what would
Yeah.
you I want to get to the last. I'm going to give you 5 rapid fire questions and then we're going to end this up, okay? These are some that the
Okay.
listeners wanted to know. Can you squeeze in 5 more minutes? I promise I'll stay on time. I got my timer, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Becoming a mother later in life was a bold and beautiful choice. What was the most unexpected joy you found in motherhood?
I guess it was the depth of love that I could feel. I
Mm,
didn't know I could love anything that much as
mm.
I love her.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. 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 Now, stepping into the role of grandmother, how has that expanded your view of family and legacy, or has it?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, because I became a mother so late,
Hmm.
becoming a grandmother, it was maybe not an option. I could have been gone by now. Um, so it's really sort of made it complete,
Mm, hmm.
made my life much more complete.
Oh, I love that. What's the biggest lesson you would want to pass on to them?
To the grandchildren.
Hmm. Hmm.
Ah, boy. I guess just, to love, love your mom, your dad, your family, and they will love you.
Mm,
Yeah. If you feel that love from them, you'll love them back. Here's a little thing that my daughter said to me when she was 2 years old.
mm.
She stood up in her crib, I swear, and she said, Mommy, our heartstrings are tied together.
Are you serious? At that age, she said that? Wow. Did that blow you
Yeah.
away?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've never forgotten it. Obviously, I wish I'd, had we didn't have our little phones yet then,
Uh-huh.
so I could record it. But
Yeah. Oh my God.
yeah,
That's
and I
amazing.
write it on whenever we, correspond or anything. I put it on there.
Mhm.
Mommy, our heartstrings are tied together.
Wow. Can you
Yep.
share with the fans, Donna, just a tad bit about the vineyard you have built, I think, with your partner, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, we have it's in our backyard. It's the hill behind the house. It's a vineyard, small, but we can turn out 100 cases a year. Uh, and it's we grow it. We grow Malbec and Cabernet.
Oh,
And
Cabernet.
yeah, we've made some really good wines. I mean, we've won four medals already at the San Francisco wine competition.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
That's
it's really
awesome.
good. We have you growing them is a big part of it and everything. But then you take it to the winery, which is out in Westlake, and a
Mhm.
winemaker out there. His name is B. Allen. And then you work with him on, how much blend, how much this, how much that, how much fermentation, how long, lots of
Wow.
things go into, how good it is. But we've been lucky. It's turned out really, really well. It's called Mandeville Vineyards.
Oh, I got to check it out. Oh my God, that's awesome. That is so awesome. If you could step into
Mhm.
any TV show currently, Donna, that's airing, which show would it be and what character would you want to play?
Oh, goodness. Oh my God. Whoa, that's a hard one.
Do you watch much TV now?
I, I don't watch a lot.
Okay.
Uh, but anyway, just finished watching one that I would like to do. Oh no, I know. I just saw it, as a matter of fact. I just did a Dr. Odyssey that was on, but Ryan Murphy is the producer on it and
Okay.
creator.
Okay.
But he has a new show coming on called All's Fair. It's about women lawyers. And I
Oh
just saw
yeah.
I just saw a promo for it and it looks
It
fabulous.
looks absolutely fabulous. I watched it. In fact, Blair just texted to me yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
he
that's
said this
funny.
sounds like one that
Yeah.
you like. That it looks good, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah,
Is
it,
that the
it
one
really does.
Kim Kardashian is in?
Yes. And we were
Okay.
we were talking about, strength and women
Mm-hmm.
being strong and just
Mm-hmm.
that's a prime example of it. And it's, I like to see shows like that being done.
I
So,
do too.
yeah.
Okay, so
So
you can
if
see
it,
yourself in
yeah,
there. Okay.
yeah.
That'd be exciting. That'd be exciting. Well, you don't know which character because we don't even know what the characters are right now, but
No, because I think it's a law firm, all
mm-hmm.
women, and
Mm-hmm.
those roles are all cast. Of course, that's the Kardashian and whoever else is in it. But it would be somebody coming with a case, probably. I don't know. Or
Yeah.
they could hire me as another lawyer. But
I can see you as a lawyer all suited up.
yeah.
Assuming you have a cheat day. I know you like to exercise and take care of yourself, but if you had a cheat day, what would be your guilty pleasure?
Oh, probably just sitting eating coffee ice cream.
Mm,
I love coffee ice cream.
yeah, yeah. Is there any
Yeah,
actor still living or not that you would have loved to have shared a screen with but didn't get the opportunity?
Meryl Streep.
Really? She's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
She's still
I
with us though, so you can still have that
oh yeah,
opportunity.
no, she's still doing it,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
she's to me the epitome of what an actor is. She's
Mm,
always
mm-hmm.
really wonderful, and in
Mm-hmm.
many various roles. So yeah,
Yeah.
if I got a chance to work with her, I would be thrilled.
I was going to ask you what's next for Donna as our final question. What's next that you haven't done that you're just saying? I don't like the word bucket list. I have never liked that word bucket list for some reason. I just call
Yeah.
it dream or something I'm going for. But What do you
Yeah.
feel that you would like to do that you haven't done?
Well, not that I haven't done, because what I really want to do is do
Mm.
another series. I like to work. I like to be on the set. I like you just feel at home on a set in a, trailer in a,
Yeah.
the whole thing. I just love that. So, if I had my druthers, I would be doing another series.
You
Yeah.
think maybe you, Michelle, or and Joan, or have you visualized what it would be, and would you produce it and direct it?
No, not direct. I've never
Okay.
directed.
Okay.
And I wouldn't produce it either because nobody would take me as a producer at this point, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm gonna just like to do it.
Yeah.
Somebody else can produce it. Somebody else. I don't know. I
You just
like
want to do it again. Do what you love. Be in your element and do what you love.
Yeah.
Wow, this has been amazing. Everyone, this is the beautiful, talented, amazing Donna Mills. Donna, thank you for making this dream come true interview. Oh my God, happen. I love it. I'm gonna be smiling all day. I'm just gonna tell you.
Uh,
Very blessed today.
Uh, well, thank you. It's been a pleasure. You're just lovely
Oh, thank you.
and really good at this. So it was really fun to do.
Everyone,
Okay.
you've been tuned in to Amazing Women and Men of
Uh,
Power, Legends and Icons, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And I'm Raven, the talk show maven. This is Donna Mills. And you know what? We appreciate you tuning in. And please make sure you share this one with a friend. They'll be so glad you did. Bye bye.